Hello everyone. So, why is Kenya's constitution a fallacy? For a nation considered the superpower of East Africa, Kenya has come a long way in growing its democracy. Once upon a time, Kenya had rulers who by all standards did not respect democracy. President Jomo Kenyatta never retired and died while in power. His successor, the late Daniel Moi, ruled with a thumb's fist. During Moi's era, it was either his way or no way. Everyone who opposed him had to be petrified of the repercussions. If you are daredevil, then your fate would be death or torture in the dungeons of Nyayo House. But nothing lasts forever. Moi's reign was undone by a major uprising. People are now more fully aware of their rights. A powerful opposition that culminated to a united battalion against Moi regime saw him knocked out entirely. This background highlights the progress, the journey, the determination of Kenya to grow its democracy. The final icing on the cake would be to change the constitution and to have developed units, a less powerful president. And that was achieved in 2010. Now, surely, with the new dispensation, Kenya's democracy was going to be a representation of the hoi polloi. But did that really happen? Kenya's acclaimed new constitution was largely borrowed from the United States, particularly the government structure. But here's the thing, it is a blend of confusion with unknowingly manipulated features. For starters, the US bestows presidential powers to the Congress. But to fully win this, you have to be a true leader. In truth, only few presidents like Carter, Kennedy, and Johnston have achieved this feat. And that was long before the world was open to information technology. Similarly, Kenya's president has to get approval from parliament to fulfill some directives. Yeah, right, a parliament that he can just buy off. The problem with Kenyan leaders, they are easily swayed to the direction of the highest bidder. Apart from that, in Kenya there are many political parties which are generally cash cows. These parties do not have a stance. In the US, however, we have two well-known parties that, although have their shortcomings, remain loyal to their cause. Oh, and in the US, the presidential loser is not an opposition leader. That role is left to the minority leader in Congress. The fact that the loser of the election is labeled opposition leader outside parliament does not make any sense. It is either that role sticks with the minority leader or the loser to be given parliamentary jurisdiction. The Senate, the lame duck branch of Kenya's government structure. Okay, their main role is to oversight governors. But how often have the very governors gotten away with graft? We are talking cronyism, billions in state funds. You mention it. Let's talk about the executive, the cabinet in particular. The US has 14, whose positions are defined and confirmation done by the Senate. In Kenya, the president can appoint up to 22. Confirmation is done by Gezu Parliament. But why would a nation with a population of over 300 million require such a small number of cabinet secretaries? The answer lies in these three areas: system, values, and interests. While few in number, each department of the US acts as a unit to the needs of its people and directly responds to the president. Fun fact, did you know that each department in the US was founded by a person or entity in a certain year? The values by which the US founded its system of governance is historical. Some of these rules can be traced to their first president. The system is not borrowed, but created out of values, what they believe is the right way to govern. Finally, we have interests. Kenya's drive in borrowing parts of the US Constitution was to unite its people, a government for everyone. However, individual and community interests take center stage in how the nation is governed. It's no wonder government appointees are politicians, people who were once members of parliament, governors, and senators. Maybe it could be how the electorate votes along tribal lines. But isn't that what the Constitution was supposed to be solving? Many of the developed nations did not copy-paste constitutions. They stood by their values. These nations include China, Denmark, or even Canada, which modified the British North American Act and turned it into Canadian law 115 years after it was first constituted. For Kenya to get out of this constitutional fallacy, they have to create their own tune, one that will not generate other shortcomings but instead solve systemic challenges.